Tony, you're starting the show today.
I am.
Yep, we're going to switch it up today.
Welcome to No Putts Given, episode 13-0. Today we talk Callaway Visit's MyGolfSpy, new golf shafts, and some other shit people will clue me in on in a bit, I guess. Let's get it.
All right, so Callaway just left the MyGolfSpy facility. Sean Toulon, Dr. Alan Hocknell both came for a visit. So
Sean is not a doctor, right?
No, Sean is not a doctor. But anyway, so just starting over kind of why they were here. So, Tony, if you can back up for everybody and kind of let everybody know why Callaway visited MyGolfSpy in the first place and kind of what you think their objective and our objective is.
Well, I would say short version, right? We've had years of intermittent communication issues, plenty of tension, and then, of course, the Chrome Soft debacle after our ball test. So I think the best way to say it is they came out to kind of press the reset button, get a better understanding of how we go about our tests, get to know us a little better, and talk a little bit about the golf ball as well.
And, for the last 5 years, our job, like we always say, is to educate and empower consumers. And we can't do that job to the best of our ability, honestly, without the other side, playing along, right? So what that means to those that are listening or watching or reading what we do, why we say that is because if you want us to be better and most educated on your equipment, we need to be first educated from you about those products that you develop and design and ultimately produce for consumers, right? We can test them and tell people what the data is, but there are so many things that go on behind the scenes with these manufacturers that the average golfer just would never know, and us included, right? So Harry Arnett leaves today at Callaway Golf, and if I'm being completely honest, I think he had a big part. Harry's a really talented guy, but our relationship status with Callaway was hindered, I think, because of one person, and I think that was Harry. And I understand why. And but that being said, we are hitting the reset button. Harry's leaving, and I think there has already been change in regards to the vibe between the two companies. And that's good ultimately for the consumer, I think. So the objective for the two companies was pretty simple. Just get a better understanding of where they're coming from, where we're coming from, which ultimately helps consumers in the end get a better product, I hope, right, Tony?
Oh yeah, hopefully, right? That's what everybody wants, and hopefully that's what everybody gets.
One of the cool things I think was that they really seemed to, once we were able to describe our testing protocols and have them understand the why of what we do at MyGolfSpy, I think they were a little bit more interested in hearing our opinion on their own products. We were going through the soft goods stuff, and Harry had some really good pointers for them on bag design and things like that as they move forward with OGO and Travis Matthew and companies like that. For them to ask for our feedback was, I think it was pretty big deal.
Yeah, and I don't think people understand the complexity of the process and problem that we have to solve, meaning we have to come up with really rigorous testing protocols, not just for one category, but for 30, and that takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication that everyone here does every day. And I think a lot of companies understand that, but I don't think Callaway did, and I think they do now. And what's best that comes out of this, I think, is that we want their input on testing, right? We want everybody's input, anyone's input that can make our testing better. And while we think we have good testing, there's no perfect testing. You can always improve.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the objectives, I think, for both were to reset, like Tony said, and the result of what will happen because of this is already happening. So, Tony, tell them just kind of some of the changes that are happening at the Callaway golf ball plant, not specifically because you started cutting open their balls, but it definitely had some impact, and they readily admitted that and understand that they had a problem. And how do they plan to fix it, really?
Yeah, I mean, I think the real quick version of the story is there are some changes going on at the ball plant. I guess you could probably call them both process and machinery upgrades, with the ultimate goal, I think probably the simplest way to explain it is to create products and processes that either meet or exceed what Titleist is currently doing, right? Because for all the talk of, Titleist talks about quality and quality control and quality checks, I think when you talk to other guys in the ball industry, for the most part, they agree that, Titleist does a really good job at that stuff. So if you're going to compete with Titleist on the quality of your product to a degree, you need to do the same kind of things they do, or even go a step beyond that. So, the first kind of real obvious one is that Callaway has new machines coming in and new processes to center the core of the golf ball properly, consistently, which, obviously we know is a problem. There's been some improvement already, but that's a big part of what they're doing. They're doing some things with to improve the consistency and, again, the quality of their mixing, right? So if you look at some of the balls that we've cut open, really more pronounced in the prior gen, but certainly we've seen some of it in the current generation of golf balls as well, where you either see kind of swirly patterns in the core, or the layers are different colors from one ball to the next, and that's indicative of inconsistencies in the mixture, and that kind of thing leads to inconsistencies in compression of the golf ball, and obviously inconsistencies in compression lead to inconsistencies in performance. So they're taking steps to address that. They are going to be X-raying, once everything is in place, right, 100% of the balls that go through there. And that's all well and good, right? And to borrow a line from Titleist, right, you can't inspect quality into a golf ball. So unless everything else goes well, right, where they are centering the cores, where the mixtures are consistent, X-raying them and hoping to pluck out the bad ones doesn't really solve the problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. So,
certainly,
we've cut open balls, and the optical visual thing that golfers see is, oh shit, that core is not centered. But there are so many other quality control checks that have nothing to do with the centering of the core of a golf ball, right? So even if you X-ray every ball that comes out of there and they're all centered, you could still have a plethora of
inconsistencies in the mix, right?
Yeah, especially temperature.
Problems with
like
the cover defects.
Too
so
much
basically,
on one side.
Too much what?
Yeah, it's certainly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a full reset on the ball factory. I don't think that's what we're talking about. But
But it's making changes.
They're spending a lot of money.
Every aspect of the ball where they've identified that they have quality issues, consistency issues, they are addressing that. And by the time the new balls roll out for 2020, all of that should be fully implemented, and that's where we're really going to see if they've actually made.
I mean, I hear that they're hiring lots of people to go out into the woods of every golf course and pick up the old Callaway golf
they actually
balls.
said they were going to napalm the woods of one of the golf courses to get rid of the old chrome softs.
If you got trees on your golf course, I'm sorry for you.
It'd be interesting to see if you can identify which ball is going to be the 2020 ball when it's out in the woods and you find
I think they're going to make it obvious for people to know. They have to because
then
I think they're going to put a logo. Like if you cut one open, it's going to have a picture of Tony's face in it. Like, we're better now. You know what I mean? We've improved. I actually think one of the coolest ads, I don't know who said it would. It might have been you, Harry, said they should come out with an ad that shows next year like the old ball and the new ball and say, this is what we used to look like. This is what we look like now. And think about this.
That's a problem with the golf industry and probably every industry in general, right? When you have a problem, you sort of fix it without acknowledging the prior one. So
obviously they're not going to put our faces on their ball.
What is that saying? No. It's like turn the problem into a feature or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Yeah, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Yeah.
So, $50 million being invested in changes in the plant. So obviously throwing money at things doesn't always fix it, but that shows a pretty significant dedication to trying to fix the quality control problem and a lot of other issues that were going on there, I guess, due to a few things. But
one of them is because, Doc Hawk was talking about the whole philosophy behind the ball, though, and he was saying that, they have these quality control issues, but making the ball itself was pretty damn difficult.
Yeah, that's a great point. So let's talk about a little bit of the philosophy of why they came up with Chrome Soft, right? So they knew right away that if they came out with a ball that was like the Pro V, why would anybody buy that versus the Pro V? So they needed to come up with what they call, or in the industry or any industry, is a differentiator, right? Something that you can instantly look at and go, that's that company. It's kind of the white driver from TaylorMade.
Remember the like Balata balls, and the people why people liked them is because they were so soft around the green. The philosophy with Callaway is kind of similar. Like it's soft, but it's a differentiator between every other ball. When
you poll golfers, the number one thing they care about with a golf ball is always feel, right? So one way you can give that to them almost instantaneously is by making it softer. But there's other things that they had to do that, because as we discovered in our golf ball test, soft off the tee equals slow, right? So how do you... That came in... One cool thing that we did learn from them was, and this is why I love having the manufacturers to MyGolfSpy or calls or whatever, because they do have a philosophy for the Callaway Chrome Soft. It wasn't just create something soft, right? Theirs was based kind of how we score golf clubs, and that's strokes gained. So... yes, soft is slow off the tee, but what they look at it as the totality of a round of golf. So you also hit iron shots. You also hit wedge shots.
Yeah, they broke down like a pretty good visual. You hit 14 drivers on average, 24 I think iron shots, 36 putts, and chip shots, and within those, and all of them came into that ball that they created.
Yeah, so they're willing to give up some distance off the tee.
Yeah.
With gaining some off the iron and some love around the green.
But I mean, the distance, they only said it was like, what, 2 to 3 yards?
Yeah, that's not what we found, but...
Yeah,
well, so,
that's what it stated.
What we talked about after the ball test and what I continue to tell people when they ask about it is, look, speed is always going to exaggerate a difference. So, a two balls that are just a couple yards apart with a 90-mile-an-hour driver swing speed are going to be significantly farther apart at 115, which to a degree is why we tested it at more of the extremes so we could fill in the middle. So, look, I know this is going to be hard for a lot of guys to hear because they argue and say, no, this is the longest ball I've ever played off the tee, whatever. Look, the reality is Callaway, every other ball company that we've spoken to about it, freely admits that a softer ball is slower off the tee. It's just a physics thing, right? It's just the way it works. They're lower COR. It's you can argue it, but you're arguing against facts, which is just a ridiculous thing to do. So the Callaway philosophy is we think that with our softer ball, for most golfers, right? We always preface with for most golfers, we can keep it within a handful, 2, 3, 4 yards, whatever. We can keep it within that distance of a Pro V1 off the tee. Because the Chrome Soft is a lower spinning ball, we're going to make up that distance off the irons. We're going to effectively be, total distance from your first shot till after you played your second. Maybe we're at least the same, maybe a little longer. And then the argument from them is, look, we have the softest cover in golf. So once you get inside 40 yards, where that really starts to, where it's just kind of the differentiation between the cover and the casing layer that leads to your spin. They're saying with our super soft cover, we're going to spin more around the greens than anybody else. Now,
right,
we didn't test 40 yards. I'm sure I'd get pushback from other ball manufacturers as to whether or not that's true, but that's certainly the philosophy behind the performance specification of the Chrome Soft.
Which I love the philosophy, right? And the differentiation of Callaway, Chrome Soft, and Truvis is definitely valid, right? You know that when you see a Truvis, even though TaylorMade has tried to ride the coattails of that a little bit, that's a Callaway ball, right? So philosophy is one thing, execution is another, right? So you can have this theory of strokes gained from tee to green, but you still have to execute it with quality control, right? And it is to be seen, I guess, or to be determined whether or not this investment will work. I think they've already started centering balls better than they were. Would you not agree, Tony?
Yeah, certainly, like the analogy Doc used, right? You can't go, oh my God, we have a problem, shut it all down, and we're not going to make any more balls until it's fixed. That's perfect world, ideal scenario. You can't do that in the real world where you have to sell things to maintain your business. So the analogy is sort of like trying to change a flat tire on a moving car. And so that's what they've done to this point is implement process improvements as they've kept going. But I think, again, certainly what they said by the time they start cranking out 2020 balls, they're going to be in really great position and to be seen, right? But certainly I'd say I'm really optimistic about what I've heard and what that could mean
Well,
for the quality of the golf ball.
I mean, do you think
You know,
people?
if you love the Chrome Soft, right, and you want to play that ball either because you like the way it feels, or you love Callaway, or it actually is a good performance spec for you, like I fully support that, but it needs to be a quality consistent product. And right now, I don't think that's the case, and hopefully
Right.
by 2020 it
But
will
do you think that the consumer knowing this now, do you think they're going to be wait until 2020 for them to get the new most consistent ball?
I mean, I would.
I think it's an opportunity.
Exactly. So there you go. So if you think that's going to happen, the obviously markets are going to go down. So why not do a recall on stuff like cars and stuff like that, like they did? And obviously it's not a health hazard.
There's still realities, and right, it's not.
It's not a safety concern. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't a child's seat.
Yeah, it's not a fire hazard. There's no risk of igniting and.
But that being
torching your
said,
baby,
I think
so.
a lot of people, at least publicly, have said, I'm never going to. You get a wide variety, right? There's people that are like, I'm never going to trust them again. I'm never buying the ball again. To the people that are probably going to wait a little bit. To the people that are still chromies or whatever the hell they call
denying there's a
themselves.
problem.
Anyway, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty good opportunity for Callaway to say, hey, we know that we didn't have the highest quality golf balls, but we've made our changes and give us another shot.
That's a detriment to them. Like, they're a big fucking company.
Well,
and them saying that they messed up.
Okay, so let's think about that, right? Here's the difference of what I would have liked to see versus what happened. Test comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Someone behind the scenes puts out a really awful press release about our testing, right? To try to throw us under the bus and all that stuff, versus that person no longer being there and not the new CEO, but the CEO going, all right, let's hit the reset button and let's face facts, right? We've got a problem. We're going to fix it. Great. There was a problem.
That looks so good on them, though.
It's not even about, it's just it does look good, right? There's no doubt about that.
But would they have addressed the problem if Tony didn't start this craze?
Well, I don't think, and in talking, I will say this, talking with Alan and Sean, I didn't get the sense that they were hiding anything. I mean, they were very open about everything.
No, that was about as transparent of a meeting between the minds as you're going to get.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that, if you look at when that response was issued, right, that was 1 week after our test. We published a test on a Monday. That release came out Friday, and I think on that Friday, that was actually before we started cutting things open and really started digging. And I think it's fair to say that when that came out, Callaway didn't know the extent of the problem they had at the factory. Right. So, I'm going to go like it wasn't until they really balls started getting cut open and they started taking a closer look.
I don't know about that. I mean, during conversations Harry had with Hocknell, they knew they had a problem. At the plant with QC.
Was that communicated? Right. That, and was that communicated properly towards the higher ups? So that's the
if you think about the people in the plants,
dude, they got quotas to hit.
Well, they do, and if they know that they've if they've effed up, it's gonna be one. Like if I say that we've effed up, I lose my job. Like, they already know that, so they're covering their. At the end of the day, everyone's out for themselves, so they're trying to keep their own.
They got numbers to hit. They didn't have their quality control standards that they could check these balls to even see if they were centered.
And they were growing at a significant pace, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
They've been growing too fast. Maybe
balls were flying out of there, so they could either go, "Holy shit, we're going to stop everything," or "We're going to keep pumping these things out." They made the wrong decision, in my opinion, but at the end of the day, they're going to fix it, and hopefully, for golfers. I think what Tony discovered and started doing is something that is going to impact golfers, not for the next year because of Callaway. I can guarantee you other manufacturers are talking to the plants and foundries that make these golf balls to assure that is not happening. And I think that what Tony did is going to impact golfers for decades.
Yeah, and for the consumer out there, it's every manufacturer is never ever going to get it 100% correct every time, because there's so many variables out there. Even Titleist, who has been number one in the ball industry for a long time, since I was in my dad's sack, Like, it's been a long time since that's happened. So when it comes to
Not the way it works.
But right, there's a stork somewhere in there, right?
but what I'm saying is the golf ball is never ever going to be perfect.
It's really
in every
hard to make a
single-
golf ball, first of all, right?
Yeah, but those
But
people out
also
there
really
like,
easy at the same time. It's really hard to make a good golf ball.
I would say it's really hard to make any
a
golf
ball. To fuse the rubber and on the blah blah blah.
Not just that, the
it's-
blending of it, all the stuff
Oh my
that
god,
we learned
there's
and
so
know,
much.
it's just not easy to make that ball. So the harder something is to make, the more difficult it is to.
But in my advice would be, even from now into 10 years from now, just keep checking the balls yourself, because you might find one in there that's going to be a little bit lopsided, because it's hard to catch every single ball when you're making 12. How many? It was like 250 million balls Callaway came out with, or something. Or
Oh, it
something
was like a
ridiculous.
few million dozen.
Yeah, so it's
Fucking
No,
ridiculous.
it's a massive
Yeah,
number
so-
of balls
So if you
going
see-
in.
you know.
So many balls.
So if you see a guy out in the
Balls.
woods napalming old balls, just know that they want to get rid of a lot of those millions of balls and hit the reset button, right? All right, so that's enough about Callaway and the trip. It was a great trip. Would you not agree?
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was.
You almost broke the record for the basketball shoot game at
I beat
almost.
you first
at the
time.
beer hall.
It's it's always good.
It
to
was
spend
an
time
off
with
night.
Sean, even if he's an asshole.
Who's that?
Sean,
Jeez.
He's
Honestly-
an interesting dude.
Honestly, people can say whatever they want about Sean and Alan. I don't know. I'm sure they're liked by most, but I have never been a part of a meeting like that the other side, especially a corporation that big, was that open and honest.
Yeah, they.
And that was my first
got some
meeting
good guys
with,
working
with
for them.
Sean and Doc, and couldn't think anything more highly of them. I think they were very transparent. They're very down to earth. They obviously know the shit.
Yeah, Alan's a smart guy, and so is Sean.
Yeah, it was
That
good.
was a lot of fun.
Sean's a
I think
professional.
Alan's probably smarter because he's a doctor, and Sean's not. But
Wait, so Sean is or is not a doctor?
Sean's gonna
Sean
send
is
you.
not a doctor.
Okay, all right, just make sure.
If Sean's
Sean,
listening,
not Dr. Toulon.
if Sean's listening to this
Sean will
podcast,
be listening.
please send a bag of dicks to Tony.
Yeah, we'll give you his address. Email me, I'll give you his address.
Just not the ones
I'm
from
gonna
China.
get a text. I will be getting a text at some point today.
All right, so moving on. The golf season is over, so I just figured we could kind of recap and give the top moments of the year from everybody. So we'll start with Sam. Top moment of the year from the golf season this year. PGA Tour, golf, anything.
I mean, shit, I won my home club's club championship.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay,
Let's
moving
talk
on.
about
Harry, what's your favorite topic? Just kidding.
No, I think
Didn't Harry win twice to your house? Let's talk about that.
I only played once, so
Hey, have you guys played against each other lately?
I did say I'm playing in the Portsmouth Amateur this weekend, and someone bowed out.
somebody's going to France. So
Oh, that's right. You going to France this weekend?
no, but I'm trying to.
I'm going to France in 3 weeks.
I'm trying
chilling.
to. I'm trying to save some money so that I can buy you all gifts when I go over there.
Oh, okay.
I'll have
Do
a
they have
croissant.
Tinder in France?
I'm gonna come back.
About to
with,
find out.
I'm gonna come back with one baguette for you, Harry.
Oh please, it's the best bread ever.
All right, so
A
your
bag of
highlight of the
dicks.
year was you winning the club championship.
No. My highlight of the year, I think, is really cool. It was the U.S. Amateur winner gets to play the first 2 rounds of the Masters with Tiger Woods next year. I think that was the coolest thing about this year.
Right, and we were speaking of this beforehand, and you said that happens every year, which I had no clue. Right?
But not okay. So the winner of the USAM gets to play with the defending
Winner.
Masters champion at the Masters
Right.
for the first 2 rounds
And you think
Did not
that's
know that.
cool because he gets to play
with T-Dub.
T-Dub.
But even so, you get to play Augusta with any pro
Look at Tony
that wins the
shaking his
Masters.
head.
Yeah. Well, think about it. Last year, didn't they have to play with who?
Patrick Reed?
Yeah.
Ooh,
That would have sucked.
Yeah.
that
So
would have.
I mean,
Why is he laughing?
think about the glow up that we came from.
It-
We
it
go from
would've
Patrick Reed to Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I
Harry,
guess.
you could have played with Tiger. You
Well,
very nice.
I mean, I could have if I missed
If you
the
quit
greens in
working
the
for
front
MyGolfSpy.
9, maybe. No, but I mean, the qualifying that I did was I played well. I just hit 9 bunkers in the first 18 holes, and that's
Yeah,
what
it's
cost
the
me.
bunkers, man.
They suck. Why are they there?
That'll get you.
Did you have the infomercial wedges?
I should have got the spin. Like,
That's your
should have
problem.
done that.
All right, what's your highlight for the year?
Just how CBD basically has taken off within the golf industry. No, why is he laughing?
He's not on the CBD kick like you are
He
just
isn't.
yet.
But I mean, you see allegedly Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson taking CBD on the golf course,
I mean,
and I taken it.
Bubba has a CBD sponsor. Like,
Right, exactly.
He's
So
got an endorsement deal.
it's
unreal.
getting bigger.
How much success would you think that CBD honestly played in the role of your two wins in a row?
100%.
Really?
He has no real golf skill, so
Yeah. CBD just literally came out and hit the golf ball. No,
The
basically,
marijuana leaf itself just smacked the ball down the course.
100%.
obviously not 100%, but I would say a good
You're
portion.
a dual All-American athlete. You're the one of two dual All-American athletes in Christopher
All
Newport
right, but
University
so
history.
here's what I found with CBD. when
You're
I
not
played.
the other one.
Shout out
correct?
seeing
No, I'm not.
So when I played
CBD
when
is.
on CBD is I felt more relaxed in pressure situations instead of kind of getting a little bit uptight and my swing gets a little bit short and quick. I was very loose going down those final stretches.
You had said
holes.
something that kind of struck me, I guess, when it comes to these situations, because I think every golfer can relate, right? You had mentioned that there was somebody playing alongside you that was really good, and usually that would make you nervous. So I remember playing high school and golf, and there being a crowd behind the first tee, and just the jitters that the average golfer
Yeah.
gets, right? So that is what you said, just literally dropped down to zero.
Exactly,
anxiety, right?
and I was kind of not anxious and to get it over with.
So you
I
could
was
just
kind of
play
like
your game.
I was on the tee and I was like, I'm going to stroke this and smash this down the middle, and I did. Came away with a par, won the tournament. But it's not just in pressure situations. My last 8 rounds has been under par, and I've been using CBD straight from those last 8 rounds. Now, obviously, I haven't practiced as much as I have been. I haven't played in 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm going to go and play this amateur event this weekend. And I'll take the CBD, and I'll just see the difference of playing without CBD, and not playing and practicing, to using CBD and playing once.
All right, here's the deal. If you win this weekend, CBD's legit. Like that. This is the ultimate test.
If he wins this weekend, MyGolfSpy, here you go. We're going to sell out to a CBD company as the only advertiser and sponsor of MyGolfSpy.
Harry,
WebMD, we're for sale. Okay.
how is the quality of the CBD that you've been taking? How do you judge the quality of the CBD that you have?
Well, I haven't
Apparently
been
by
taking.
how much he wins.
I haven't been taking like
Which is
the
a
ones
lot.
that have not been tested by a third party. I've been taking ones that have been tested by a lab and been put through its paces, so you know there is some thought involved. Because I know there's so many CBD companies out here already that want to make a quick buck, and they put some CBD in there, and it might be 1% CBD, and the rest of them might be chemicals that completely mess up your.
Don't take those this weekend.
Yeah.
Tony, what was your highlight this year?
I don't know that I have one. Like, I don't watch a ton of golf. I mean, I guess, right, so somebody should say Tiger winning the Masters, right? So, fuck it, let's go with that.
I think mine is 2 things, I guess, and that is the knee drop rule and the pin in, pin out thing. So, like,
That's certainly interesting.
yeah, those were big stories at the beginning of the year. And I don't know how much the new rules will impact next year. Like, how will that play out the next few years is what I'm more interested in. And then the pin in, pin out rule, the rule and the testing that we did and others did.
That got a lot of traction.
Yeah. I mean,
Shit,
So-
we're being talked about on TV.
Yeah, Sir Nick Faldo was shouting us out.
yeah.
Couple of
So
times,
how do
which
you
is cool.
think next year that will look? So obviously you've seen golfers. Some golfers are doing it in tournament. Some a lot of recreational golfers are doing it. But is it going to speed up play? And do you think you're going to see more golfers do that next year? My first thought was, I think it can really speed up play. The problem is that when you have Sam that leaves the pin in all the time, and he's playing with a guy that wants it pulled out, it then actually slows down play, right?
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead, Tony. I played in a couple events this summer where one guy really wanted it out, and I'm the kind of golfer where if they want it out, take it out. If you want it in, I would prefer if someone asked me, you taking it out, I will 99.99% say just leave it in. But for the guys that like, you know, you play with the better players, especially going over to the college practice, everybody wants it out. So it's here nor there. We played an event, played with a guy the second day. He was like, "You guys don't want the pin in, do you?" And I was like, "I don't really care." He's like, "Oh my God, thank God." I kept having to stick that damn flag in every time the guy wanted to putt. Didn't matter how far he was.
I think they should just concrete him in the bottom of the flag.
That would make it a little more difficult to change the hole, but
Probably. But if
Yeah.
you just take the whole thing
it
out.
gives it a handle.
Exactly.
yeah, no.
Well, sorry,
no more-
Tony. Do that same motion again. Oh, okay.
Is that you got your hand in your pocket again, Harry?
Oh no, magic is not there anymore.
All right, so those two things were the most interesting to me. I guess we'll see how they play out over time. Next up is...
Hold on. One more thing before we move on. I would
You have an
say-
opinion now?
Well, not on, when you mentioned the dropping and the flag stick and sort of all that stuff, I think this is the first year where the slow play conversation has heated up to the fact that,
Maybe we're gonna do something about it.
3 or 4 years from now, we might actually do something about
Yeah.
it.
That's a good point.
Good point. Next up on No Putts Given is the 2019 Most Wanted Utility Iron of the Year, and we just completed it. It will be published next Thursday. The winner is on the screen for everyone to take a guess and see if they can decipher that
I know.
spy. You do? Shh.
I don't.
You don't? All right. So, when it comes to utility irons, help golfers out there that are listening to this, right? Because there's kind of a fork in the road. There's two different types of utilities. What are they? What should golfers be looking for? And help some golfers out if you can, Sam.
Yeah, so I think the utility iron category is really interesting for back in the day when you think of 2 iron or 1 iron, you're like, whoa, there's no way that I'm good enough. I mean, I probably wouldn't play a 1 iron.
It's like a
plus
butter
handicap.
knife.
Exactly. So they've come a long way. Technology is kind of, like you said, forked off into 2 different directions. On one side, I feel like you've got these low launching, low spinning, off the tee driving irons that have thinner soles, higher centers of gravity. The ball's going to launch a little lower. And then on the other hand, you've got products like the Tour Edge HL4, for instance, which performed quite well in our test, actually. It's got a wider sole, a farther back center of gravity. It helps the ball launch a little higher.
It's like a mini hybrid.
Yeah, so if you're the kind of golfer that is not ready to transition all the way to a hybrid and a long iron, a lot of these manufacturers are starting to make utility irons with lofts that are a little bit more fun for the golfer at the 5 and the 4 iron that can help you hit a long iron higher and better and actually get it off the ground.
I guess the best way to define it is when you think driving iron or utility iron, you really need to look at which one it is, driving iron or utility iron, and
Right.
think about the difference in those two words, right? Driving iron is specifically used from more off the tee. A utility iron is more of a utility player, right?
Yeah.
It's used for multiple purposes. And I think
Sometimes you can carry multiple of them at different lofts.
that's another good point. So if you're a 65-year-old guy out there or woman out there that can't get the ball airborne as easy anymore, you're probably going to think there's no way I could play a utility or driving iron, right?
Mm-hmm.
But would you agree that they should actually maybe think about trying some of them?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, there's utility irons out there that feature a more playable option for golfers with slower swing speeds. It's not everybody has to be a high swing speed player. Tony, you're kind of looking at me with a little bit of
No, he has rust and bitch
disagreement.
face.
Oh,
No, what I was
RBF.
actually going to say is, I think you're absolutely right, and especially being at the test facility for the last day and a half and really kind of getting to check out that whole bag of toys we had there. There is, within the utility / driving iron category, whatever you want to call it, there is almost as much variation in the product offerings as you would find, I guess comparable going from player's cavity back to game improvement, right? There really is that kind of range and size and shape, top line thickness, sole width, offset, all of that stuff. There's
Shafts,
tremendous variety. So it's not like,
steel.
hey, I just choose a driving iron and I'm in a butter knife. It really is, all right, do I want a player's utility iron or more of a game improvement utility
Well,
iron?
as
There
Sam-
really is that kind of broad spectrum within the category.
Sam mentions it a lot, and I think it just needs to be kind of ingrained in people is go in with a purpose, right? So don't just buy blindly. When you walk into a store, go in with an objective, what am I trying to achieve today with my game? And what tool, basically, in this store is going to help me best achieve that
Right.
goal, right? So kind of like I always try to say about a hammer, right? If I'm going to be a roofer, I want a hammer that works well with my hand and achieve the job how I'm going to do it.
Right.
And golf, there's so many different tools, and in utilities, it's hard for golfers to understand that even within that thing called a driving iron, utility iron, there's almost like 3 or 4 different styles of how golf companies are trying to offer and achieve those different goals for different types of golfers.
Just like a driver, just like a fairway wood, just like irons, there's something out there for everybody. There's stuff on the extreme end where you're going to get that low launch, or stuff on the other side where you're going to get the high launch, and there's even stuff in the middle. Shit, there's utility irons that are adjustable. Cobra, TaylorMade.
All right, well, let me ask you a question.
And the one length.
Yeah, they have a one-length utility iron.
That is so cool, the one length utility.
It's really hard to shoot photographs of it, though, if you ask Matt. Like, it doesn't stick out of the bag. Like, all the others are, like, up here, and this one's way down here.
But let me ask you a question, Sam. So, related back to the golfer, if you have, like, the mini hybrid, and then you have a hybrid that has the same loft, why should they go to a driving iron? Or why should they stick with a hybrid? Because if you're accustomed with a hybrid and you're more comfortable with a hybrid that does the same job as a driving iron, what's the differences between the two? I'm saying.
I think with
you
the
just said it. If
I think it's club delivery. It's like, if I'm a guy that delivers like an iron that wants to come in a little bit steeper angle of attack versus a sweeper, I'm looking for a utility looking ironish driving iron, utility iron, versus the Tour Edge, which is more of a, I'm going to have trouble at a steep angle of attack trying to take a divot with that, which is the way I prefer to play, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to deliverability of the club.
You're exactly right, Adam. And also, not only angle of attack, delivery of the club, but also, preference. Like, some guys, like, I would never play a 5-wood because there's just too much of the face showing. Mm-hmm. And that still kind of runs true for hybrids as well. Like, if you're going to get a 5 hybrid, that's a lot of face to look at. But if I'm getting a 5-iron utility iron, it's gonna look and appear more like an iron, which you're already seeing the entirety of the face of. Mm-hmm. So I think a little bit comes down to preference. What do I want to look at? What's going to give me confidence when I look down at it? But also club delivery. Am I steep enough to where I can hit a utility iron and I don't need to take, I don't need this super wide sole hybrid. And also, again, like it depends. You have to look in at your game. What do I need out of this club that I'm going to get in my bag?
I'm guessing if you're all over the face, hybrid might be better for you than a mini driving iron, depending on the MOI. That's what I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, and like I said, there's different models that have different levels of forgiveness, and some are designed more for better
Everything's
players,
a different bag. Everything can be different and spec to you. But
I think I might have mentioned earlier, there's manufacturers out there. Strixon, for instance, is really good. When they came out with the 85 series, they came out with the ZU85, and I think it goes all the way up to I want to say 7-iron or 6-iron.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
So if you need more forgiveness in your long irons and you want to go further than a cavity back, you can get the ZU85. Tony, I'm not talking to you. Maybe I am.
Actually, after you fix his swing, I think he's going to go from a bag of hybrids to a real set of irons again.
I mean,
I think he might go to some button.
Dude, I'm not going to lie.
We made some good strides this weekend.
I definitely found a utility iron that I took a shine to for sure. So
I've seen Tony swing the golf club for 10 years. Sam did more improving of his golf swing in literally 5 minutes than I've seen in 10 years.
Let me just clarify. Tony did more fixing of his golf swing. I just told him what to do.
It was impressive.
He just benched me.
He's still got a...
Yeah, how are your muscles, by the way? Are they still hurting?
I did get a text yesterday.
Last night, and I'm like, so normally it's my right hip that hurts. Now it's my left. So obviously we've done something.
Okay, the big question, though, for me is, based on what Sam gave you, which is a big nugget, right? Did you start following him on Twitter yet?
No.
What?
It's because it's not about fixing my golf swing. It's about saying interesting things. So
I like Sam's Twitter.
I'm kidding. Maybe we'll see how it goes.
Go check out the video I posted.
If you hit the 7 in the 70s this year, you have to follow him. That has to be a
rule. I like that one. He's gonna 5-putt 18 to make sure he doesn't do it.
Based on, tell you what, if I can, based on how badly I've been playing of late, like I said, I shot even par on the front 9 at the member guest on Saturday, had a turkey sandwich, and my game has been garbage since. So if I go out Sunday morning and shoot 85 or better, I'll follow Sam on Twitter.
Please don't,
No chance.
please don't throw it away on the 18th hole when you're like 10 over and you make
Oh,
a
I
quad on
won't.
the last hole.
Oh, I can triple bogey that. The 18th at McGregor is a par 3, but like every par 3 at McGregor is really easy until you miss the green, and then things can get ugly fast. So
Just for everyone out there, Tony follows me on Twitter.
We worked on full swing.
Just to annoy you.
Okay, yes, I get it. I get it. Everybody rub it
you know
in.
what? Did you,
Do you
Harry,
follow
know
Matt
I follow
too?
Matt as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out.
All right, so for those of y'all that don't know, Tony actually came down the facility for the Callaway trip and transitioning to the facility. We've had it for 4 years now. Starting to outgrow it now, so we are looking for other facility places to kind of expand and kind of spread our wings a little bit. And for those of y'all that don't know, we are currently working with a couple places to do that. So yesterday after the meeting with Callaway, we met with a couple places, or one place yesterday, one place the week before. And you guys looking forward to that, being in the facility for a few years?
I'm looking forward to a nice facility with space and Matt for to have an office.
I would love for Matt to have a desk.
Okay,
I know, Matt, would you like to have a desk too? He
Well, if this
says
is
yes.
about Matt, I can just put an office
Right
up
where
there
he
on the
is.
second floor.
I think, I don't,
Get one of those little grade school desks, right? It's just a self-contained chair on top. And
I think there's so many positives that can come out of a new facility. One of
Testing
them-
done faster
Yeah.
with the more bays, more testers.
Yeah, so the difference, for those of you that have never been to the MyGolfSpy facility, the facility is in kind of a industrial area. I don't know what Tony's laughing at already about.
this is because you're like, for those of you who have never been to the facility,
which is
Tony
like
Covey.
99.9% of the people listening.
Oh, I got
it
you.
was me 2 days ago.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
So the test facility is not located on a golf course, which in a perfect world it would be on a golf course where we kind of had access to outdoor testing, indoor testing, all in one place, and golfers were, walking there every day to play golf already. So that's what we're looking to do, and we're looking right now at a couple different options, and I'm super excited and hope one of them happen for all of us, and obviously all the consumers out there, because we can really do a lot of cool stuff if we can ever get there. So looking forward to that. And for those that follow us, we'll be kind of sharing some information about that process in the next couple weeks. Next up, well, before we even finish, there's the winner of the utility.
Oh yeah, but
Iron
we
test.
can't say who it is because it
Embargoed.
is embargoed.
So
Semi-embargoed, yeah.
Take that as a hint.
yeah, there's a hint for you. So next up is a new product, and Tony, I'll let you take this one. So it's Tony's new golf ball that he's been playing.
Did they
And-
create this? Did they?
Experimenting, it's
did they
gonna take a
streamline
lot
this
to
for
get
you?
So this is Titleist Pro V1X Left Dash, it's called. And I have this one. There you go. There's the picture. It's called the Left Dash because of the left dash on the side stamp. So this is one of Titleist CPO balls, custom performance options. It's another way of saying tour only previously. So in addition to the 3 retail tour balls, if you will, not that AVX gets any play at all on tour as far as I know. Might get 1 or 2 on other than the PGA Tour. But so AVX, Pro V1, Pro V1X, those are sort of the retail tour balls. There's also 3 custom performance options for tour staff. The Left Dash is one of them. It is the most popular of those 3, and it doesn't fit a massive number of players by any stretch. It's not a meat of the bell curve fit, but there's been enough interest at the amateur level and enough guys that it fits well. This is actually the ball Titleist fit me into at TPI, or not TPI, Manchester Lane, a month and a half, 2 months ago. So it does have its spot, and they're bringing it to retail, kind of. So it's not going to be on shelves. It's special order only. Kind of have to ask for it by name, but intriguing option for sure.
All right, couple questions. What's the difference with the Left Dash? What's the main feature of it, comparatively speaking to other Titleist balls?
So if we look at the Titleist lineup, right, moving, so AVX, low launch, low spin, Pro V1 relative to everything, mid launch, mid spin, Pro V1X, high launch, high spin. So this is sort of, I call it a non-linear option. So you get the high compression, high launch characteristics of the Pro V1X, but at much lower spin. So from a spin perspective, it's only a slightly higher spinning ball than AVX. So very low spin golf ball.
Might be a good ball for you, Harry.
Off the tee, yeah, but I've tried all the balls that I have that say they do that, and when I get around the green, that's where I have my problem, where I can't.
What's around the green though, Harry? What do you mean around
I
the green?
like chipping from maybe 5 to 10 yards. I like to go in there quite quick.
That's cover thickness and softness, the difference between the cover and the casing layer. So that's not going to be a lot to do with what you see off the tee. That's kind of a little bit different animal. You're getting more of the cover and play on those short shots.
If you want to send some down to me, or if Titleist is here and send some down to me, I'll try them out.
Nobody at Titleist listens to them.
So, all right, who is this ball for, in your opinion, Tony?
So again, it's similar to an AVX guy on paper, right? It's going to be kind of a higher speed, higher spin player, and definitely a higher spin player. But again, it's a higher compression ball. So if you are, as much as I argue against the field preference, if you are a guy who likes a softer feeling ball, this is definitely not for you. If you are a guy who doesn't generate enough spin with your irons, especially, or definitely with your driver, this ball is not for you. Again, Titleist says the 3 current retail balls, AVX, Pro V1, Pro V1X, fit 95% of the golfing population. So this really is kind of a ball for the other 5%, which is why it's not going to be on shelves, why it's going to be special order only, that sort of thing.
All right,
but
when's it available?
It's definitely an intriguing option for a niche portion of the market.
So it's not going to be available in stores, but you can buy it right online. So when is it available for golfers?
So it's not really, I wouldn't say online.
It's like a pre-sale, like a pre-order.
Well, it's special order only. So basically, you can go to any authorized Titleist ball seller, whether that's Dick's Sporting Goods or your local pro shop, anywhere that has a Titleist account. And just as you would like order a number 47 or whatever in a Pro V1, you can say, hey, I want to order X dozen of the Left Dash Pro V1X.
All right.
So they're not putting it on shelves because again, they think the other 3 fit most golfers better, and they don't want to have a situation where a golfer accidentally pulls a Left Dash box off a shelf and has a ball that doesn't fit him well or doesn't meet his performance expectations or what he's accustomed to.
So what you're telling me is Titleist is making this a mass run ball just for you.
Wouldn't that be something? But no. But it does, like on paper, again, this is what they fit me for because, I mean, you saw it at the test facility, right? I tend to generate excessive amounts of dynamic loft, and excessive amounts of dynamic loft come excessive amounts of spin. So
I think
that's really kind of.
We'll see. Well, I think that there's a lot of guys that play AVX that could probably benefit from something like this.
I agree.
Guys that shouldn't be playing AVX and they should be playing a Pro V1, but need that reduction in spin. Probably.
Yeah, and this, like I said, I mean, we can haggle about what the actual impact of low compression is, but if you are a guy who generates a decent amount of swing speed, and on my best days I can get up 107, 108, so a low compression ball is going to cost me distance off the tee. With something like this, I get the low spin benefits of AVX without losing that distance off the tee and then getting kind of the performance that I'm looking for on the rest of the golf course.
There you go.
But that's just me. Again, that's not everybody else. To say my swing is an outlier is probably fair.
All right, so if you think you're one of the 5% out there that this ball is right for, like Tony said, you can order it through any authorized Titleist retailer. And if you have any questions, October 1st. And if you have any questions, shoot a text or email, or we'll give out Tony's phone number. You can directly contact him. But no, ask Tony on Twitter or anything. He'll help you out, I'm sure. And next up is something that I don't think a lot of people know that we do. We have a forum, and that forum is a separate kind of yet connected piece to MyGolfSpy that has, at this point, 80,000 hardcore golfers, right? But one of the coolest things that we do almost every Friday at this point, which I don't think any other media outlet in golf does at least this much of it, is what's called member testing, right? So MyGolfSpy is known for testing all the different products, drivers through putters, shoes through ball retrievers on Harry's end. And, we want to do that datacratically, but we also want to offer the opportunity for our readers and consumers out there to don't take our word for it, try it on your own, right? And I just don't think many people are aware of this, but here are some of the examples of product that you can test for MyGolfSpy and keep, meaning once you're done testing these products, these sets of irons and drivers, they're yours to keep. So
Forever.
They're yours to do whatever you want with. You just have to be a member of the forum. So here's a list of some of the latest ones we've done just for anybody out there that's interested. Callaway Epic Flash drivers.
That's
Ping,
pretty good.
Yep. Ping G410 irons. Pretty
Ooh,
good.
that's good.
Yep. Even roll putters. Cleveland wedges. Wilson Junior sets. So if you have any kids out there, that would be a cool one. We do range.
Or if you're really, really, really small.
Sam, you might want those.
And not only do we do clubs, but we do range finders and all kinds of tech and, Arcos and shot scopes and pretty much anything that's out there that does well in our testing, and even some that don't, that like for the junior sets, for example, that we don't test much of, we give the access to our reader to test and keep the product. So if you haven't joined the forum yet, go on to the homepage, and at the top right, you'll see where it says forum, and we'd love to have you in there. And basically, at the end of the day, it's 80,000 members that want to talk golf and, have a community that they can kind of hang their hat and call home and just chat about golf every day. And
Golf.
Yes.
Golf. Very nice.
And one other thing that we have, just kind of a quick announcement, and that's Fujikura Ventus comes out with 2 new shafts, the black and the red, where
Bada
you can
bing.
see Tony holding. And also we have some graphite design new shafts. So Tony, can you give some quick info on the new shafts?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think next week is when the full info is going to come out. We'll have stories. I think definitely on Ventus. I'm trying to pull together with graphite design as well. So awesome week coming up for shaft whores like me. 2 new Ventus offerings coming. So in addition to the blue, we have a red and a black, as you'd expect from any kind of 3 shaft lineup, right? The blue, the original, now the Ventus blue, mid-launch, mid-spin, kind of a speeder profile, soft midsection. The black is going to be your low spin offering, so stiffer midsection, stiffer overall, and then for kind of the high launch, higher, nobody ever says high spin. You can never say high spin. So, high launch, mid spin, Ventus red. So we'll have full details on those coming out. I'm going to get these tipped up as soon as I can and check them out. Waiting on tips, hopefully. JT, man, come on, hit me up. And the other one coming up is going to be the Graphite Design Tour AD XC. So about this time every year, Graphite Design launches a new shaft in their AD lineup. So ADDI, right? The orange one was sort of the one that's probably the most well-known, but like clockwork, every kind of late summer, early fall, there's a new one. The XC, not a replacement. Graphite Design almost never replaces anything, but it's being billed as a modernized version of the Tour AD-BB, which is one of the lower spinning offerings in the AD lineup, and kind of had an interesting following. Certainly, a lot of guys love the blue one. So this is sort of the blue one evolved, new materials, stiffer midsection. That's kind of the talking points there. And again, we'll have more on that as well.
So Tony, when are you sending me these shafts? Because I'm playing the blue version right now.
That's right, you did. I sent you the ADBB once upon a time.
And it feels great.
You could do a little swap.
Swappy swap.
A little swap.
How
Is
about?
that what you're? What's in your drive? Is that what you're playing in your drive?
I'm playing, yeah. So here's a test. How about you send that driver down? I get to keep it, but I do a test between the old version and the new version, and then let's see what happened. There's a lab right there.
Yeah, no, I think
go straight in my basket.
Right, you're right. Yeah, it could be interesting, for sure.
So if you want to send that down,
Tony's not sending you.
No,
that
he's
driver.
not.
No. Actually, this is one of the things I'm talking to Graphite Design about now, is comparing it to something they suggested. I think the the IZ, but because it's sort of almost like I don't want to say opposite, but certainly from graphite design standards, a very different profile than the AD IZ. But yeah, I definitely think some head-to-head stuff could be interesting.
That'd be cool. So send that down whenever you get it.
Tour clubs, but we know that there are a lot of interest in shafts, even if it's sort of hard to explain and kind of quantify and really put it out there in a way that's meaningful.
Okay.
But we're plugging away and trying to get the info.
Great transition.
And speaking of,
great transition for that. So we survey our readers all the time on kind of what they're interested in, what they like, and what they want. And man, it's just an overwhelming response of people just going, can you guys help solve the problem of the complexity and confusion around shafts? And we're working on it. We really are. But I don't think people understand how difficult that is. It is super muddy water. Like, it is just a tough nut to crack. And we have something called MyGolfSpy University that will become a bigger part of what's called MyGolfSpy University. So article out yesterday. Go check it out.
Really well written by Chris. That was good.
And we're starting. You have to start somewhere, but trust me, it's a little bit tough to read, but just hang in there.
Bear with it.
It's technical for sure, but it's really like our whole idea is like if we're going to tell you how it works and how it all comes together and launch profiles and torque and all the lingo and the language that everybody sort of associates with shaft marketing, really have to kind of tear it down and explain it every step of the way. And yeah, it really is kind of a complex and sometimes tedious.
It's like reading Aristotle. You have to read it about 3 or 4 times,
technical.
And then
He read Aristotle?
hey, I'm a communications philosophy of communication. Aristotle, Plato, Aristotle. I think therefore I am.
Learn much.
I think therefore I am. Epistemology, ontology, axiology.
This is where Harry's deep thoughts comes
Now
from.
he's just
Deep
saying
tips.
words.
Anything with ology, deep tips.
All right, so the last thing, too, is when we do these focus group studies, one of the other things is, and we haven't done a good enough job about this, honestly, and we know that, and we're going to work on it in the future, and that is we have focused a lot more on the first 10 years of what we call the gearhead, and that is the super technical, the super detailed, the super datacratic, and we need to start doing a better job of offering services and guides for all levels of golfers, I guess. So one thing that we've put up there, if you go onto our Facebook, if you don't follow us on Facebook, feel free. But we have something we just put together called the MyGolfSpy Free Driver Fitting Guide. And if you're super technical gearhead, it might not be for you. But if you're starting out and there is any intimidation factor for you to walk into a store and get fit for a golfer, the job of this is kind of twofold. It's to help you find the driver for you, right? The right driver. But it's a simple questionnaire to just make sure, basically it's like this. So what you're seeing right now is the cover sheet, but this is the driver guide. And it's basically for a golfer to just walk into a fitter and hand them this sheet. And basically it gives you tips on how to find the right driver for you. And it gives you some specs for them to write down the before and the after from your old driver versus your new. And just simple things like be open-minded, eat before you go, warm up. Even some of those basic things that some golfers don't do, so you can make sure that you maximize the potential of your fitting. Kind of going back to what Sam's always said, and that's going with an objective. For those of you that sometimes forget to go in with an objective and want a cheat sheet, this is a quick and easy cheat sheet for you to bring into a fitting.
I mean, shoot, it can be hard going into the golf shop. There's all this new product. You want to try everything out. I mean, even your own objective in your head can get lost. So something like that can really help you stay on the right track when you go to get fit.
Yeah, Aziz Ansari, the comedian, said it kind of best, I think, like paralysis by overanalysis. He was talking about buying a toothbrush off Amazon, and he was talking about like just the unsatisfaction he had by buying this one, getting it and going, he spent like hours researching the best toothbrush, right? He buys it, gets it home, he's like, oh, it's pretty good, but like,
could I have had better?
Could I have had better, right? And there was just, in today's world, there's just this overwhelming abundance of information that can be thrown at you at an instant, right? And it's tough to kind of wade through.
Yeah.
And when you go into a PGA Superstore and think about when you open those doors, it's like, holy shit, right? And your brain can go from I had this objective when I walked in to now like, oh my
Ooh,
God.
look at that.
Exactly.
It's like kids in a candy store.
Yeah.
Eyes light up.
We see that all the time, even in our own office. Guys will come in and say, hey, man, can we do a bag analysis? And then you start dropping some knowledge on them. They're like, whoa, this is way too much.
Yeah. So this, honestly, I think it's for anybody. It's useful for anybody. But anyway, if you think this is something that would be interesting to you, check it out. It's on our Facebook page. You can just download it. It's free.
Free 99.
Yep, free 99. And other than that, anyone have any last things to say on episode 13 of No Putts Given?
I hope we sell out to CBD. I hope we sell out to CBD.
Oh, you want? Okay.
Because if I win, we're selling out, right?
Yes, for sure.
All right, perfect.
I'm going to get my Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Okay. Tony, have a good weekend. Your in-laws coming?
No.
You sound a little too happy there.
Quarantined everybody.
So you got a free weekend with some golf. And Tony, where are you playing this weekend? McGregor?
Always in McGregor.
Yeah.
Almost always in McGregor.
So if you're up in the far north of New York and Gansevoort and want to ever play with Tony, hit him up. He's got a...
Says no one.
That's not true. That's not true.
There's some people that live up there.
And there's people that like to play with Tony, so...
I would love to play with Tony, but he never sticks around for long enough for me to do so.
He should after what you gave.
That really, Sam, that says more about you than it does about me.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. But however, our next lesson is going to be on course. And I'm not even going to charge you.
Well, I'm starting up the for real lesson package next week. Not that you didn't help, not to diminish what you did, because I think we pretty drastic change right there.
We built the foundation, Tony. Who are you
going to get lessons from?
So I'm starting with an evaluation with Anders Matson, who is a Golf Channel Academy guy. Good reputation in the area. Sent lots of juniors to drive, pitch, and putt championship already. So, and he's been described to me as cerebral and really kind of technical and data driven, which gels well with what I'm looking for. So we're doing the evaluation next week, and if I think it's a good match and I think it's kind of what I'm looking forward, we're gonna move forward and commit to a serious lesson package and teaching program and see if we can't get this to a point where I can play consistent golf and where my game can't be degraded significantly because I ate a turkey sandwich.
I'm giddy at this. This is great.
I'm waiting for the Corn Ferry Tour and Tony to be on it.
He'll probably be on PGA Tour Champions, but
I'm not even gonna be on the Corn Flakes Tour.
All right, well, that's episode 13 of No Putts Given. Everybody have a good weekend. We out.